Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You are welcome. You know, I love what I talk about. I love this entire topic of customer care, service mentality. The moment I start thinking about it, I smile. I am happy. Because basically, it's relationship with people. It's the way you connect with people. And sometimes you're waiting for a ministry, sometimes you're waiting for a microphone, sometimes you're waiting to be given an opportunity. Come on, wherever you are. So right now, as I am here in the studio, I just love to connect with the people I am working with, and you know, the environment is good, yeah, and I thank God for them. Yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for following. My name is Joy, and we are still talking about service mentality, your attitude in serving. We've really shared a number of things. Previously, we talked about promises. I don't know whether you went back in that phone book and looked through the different people you made promises to and tried to sort it out. Anyway, we've looked at various things, and today, we are going to be talking about training or learning or being educated in customer care. If you are going to be a good customer care representative, you're going to be trained. You're going to learn to do it. You are going to learn how to treat people. You're going to learn how to talk to people. You're going to learn how to relate with people. Some of these things don't just come automatically, yeah? You could have a skill, you could have the knowledge, you could have the product, but if you don't learn how to handle people, if you don't learn how to treat people, if you don't get educated about how to deal with different people, you may mess it up, yeah? You may not be extraordinary. Some of the people that we admire that are actually good at customer care, they have actually been trained in this thing. Yeah? I mean, you're not born a good customer care agent. You're not born, you're not born with all this information. Personally, I went through training. I learned, I sat down, and learning is continuous. Yeah, you cannot say now I've learned enough about customer care, or I've learned enough about how to handle people. I've learned enough about how to treat people. No, because different people are always going to come in your circle, and different people are tuned differently. There's this nature in us that we have. Some are sanguines, some are melanchons, some are cholerics, some are phlegmatic, such temperaments. The way people are wired is different. So sometimes it will require you to actually sit down and learn the different characters of people. Then you'll be able to work with them easily, or you'll be able to relate with them easily, or you'll be able to be their manager, or you'll be able to serve them better when you actually have known or learned or been trained on how to handle them. There are people that you just can't handle because you're good, yeah? You need to have the skill on how to handle them, yeah? There are people with complications maybe in life. There are people who are like sick, or they have disabilities, or they have issues like, it's not obvious. You sitting at that desk, you need to have gone through maybe a certain training to handle certain customers. Yeah, there are children who have issues in life, like they are born and they are not like normal. They have the way they react to the environment and situation. So you need a training. So if you're going to be an excellent customer care, you are not going to ignore training. Excellent customer care agents always a package of training, and these trainings do not come to an end. They are continuous because seasons change. Your customers change due to season circumstances, places, environments, and you need to study maybe the environment you're in. When you know the environment you're in, you'll be able to serve the people in that environment better. When you learn the situations that are happening around. For example, when it was during the COVID time, that lockdown time, yeah, and you had customers and maybe people to relate with, there is a way you needed to know how to relate with people during that season. People were locked down. Now, if you're a service provider who is just seated and waiting for the customers to come, you'll never get them. So you needed to have a training on how to handle these people during this time of lockdown. So good customer care representatives always go through a training. Even when you're producing a certain product for people, yeah, you need to learn the skill on how to give the product. So being good at smiling, being good at welcoming, like you're welcome, is not enough to say you have customer care. You must have the skill, you must have the knowledge, you must have an understanding on what you are doing. Then you'll be able to do it better. There are people, when they come to you, maybe they don't know how to write. So you must be learned on how to write. If you're going to handle people who don't know how to write, you must be trained. You must be trained on how to handle people who probably are deaf, yeah, or those who cannot speak. They are dumb and deaf. When such customers come to you, if you're not trained, it may be hard for you to connect with them if you're working in their environment. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about training your staff to be able to produce good results when dealing with the different customers. Let it be a person at the gate. They are trained on how to relate with people at the gate, on how to open that gate, on how to, lock that gate. It is not obvious. There are things, life, if you start taking life like it's obvious, that's when you make many mistakes. So you need training on how to deal with people, and then you'll be able to execute excellent customer care. Training also requires that you keep learning new things. Even if you already went through a training, let's say, many companies, when they are employing you, they take you through a training, a briefing, that training to give you tips on maybe what they offer or how their services are done or how they do things in that company. But one training is not enough. So there is need to do a continuation. There's always a continuation. Now, continuation comes with learning new things or relearning or a recap, putting energy into what you've already learned, like, waking it up. People forget easily. There's that statement that people are made up of words. In other words, people are made up of training. So you need to, sometimes your staff, you need to keep giving it to them, even if they've already learned it. Yeah, there's a company I worked for some time back, a corporate company, for a long time, by the way. But every morning we go through a training. We would have what they call a briefing, and they would train us on the same things that they have been training us earlier. But as you keep training and training and training and training, you become an expert. Yeah, it now becomes easy. It becomes part of your life. Now, there are things we trained in, like that greeting, like when someone calls you, you're trained on how to receive that phone call. Maybe like, good morning, you're speaking to Joy, how may I help you? Or good morning, you have called, Joy Companies, how may I help you? Now, if you do it once, you'll forget and keep mixing it. But if you're trained to keep doing it, you now can wake up even in your sleep and you're able to do it. And the moment you do something perfectly well, customers, they fall in your palm. They feel like you're the right person. So training helps you to exercise that knowledge. And training helps you to reboost what sometimes you already have, or it gives you new information. Now, sometimes some of us have already trained on certain things, which is true, but seasons have changed. You trained on how to, let's say, you're trained on how to write notes on the computer. But today, the speed at which things are happening, the things you trained have already, these days you need to be a multitasker. In one of the companies that I worked in some time, you needed to be able to type, speak, like find a solution at the same time. So much as I had learned the soft things about how to write notes in the computer, I needed to know how to use the Excel, to use Word, to use different applications. So I had to go beyond what I had learned earlier, you know. So training cannot end, because technology is now going to another level. Every day new things are coming on board, you know. You know how to use the Nokia Mapesa phone, but now people are on, you know, tablets and all these things, you know, iPhones. You need to train and get in touch with what is happening. Then you'll be able to give the customer that extraordinary attention. And when you know, customers will fall into your palm. This doesn't mean that you should know everything or that you can know everything. Nobody knows everything. But again, there are people who do not know anything. You know, it's a dangerous spot when you know nothing. Whereby, have you seen people where they can say, you go to so and so and they help you, and someone says, that one also, does she know anything? And then they're like, no, that one doesn't know anything. That one always doesn't know. If you're in that caliber, working with people is going to be hard. People need people who know something. You should be able to have knowledge. You should be a bank of knowledge. You don't have to specifically know only what you're seated at that desk to do. You can know beyond. You can know what happens even on someone's desk. That is learning. That is training. You know, that is getting yourself more information. A good customer care representative will know beyond their duty, beyond their contract. Have you met people whereby, like, usually I'm impressed with the people who offer services for people who are going to get married, the service providers who give like tents, videography, photography. These guys, I remember I used to work with one friend of mine, and he did not have all these things with him, you know, but at least he had knowledge on a videography, on photography, and yet he was only having what? Chairs and tents. Yeah, so when a customer would walk to him and say, I need a wedding package, they know, they have information, they have knowledge, they have at least learned, they have trained themselves on at least to know certain packages, even outside what they offer. That makes a customer fall in your hands. That makes a customer feel like, oh, this person has customer care. You may not be able to give them that product, but you'll be able to know. You cannot tell someone who comes to you like, oh, I need decoration, and they're like, but I also have not, you know, gotten my gown, and you say, I don't do things of gowns, I don't know gowns, you know. How about if someone came to you and yes, you're a decorator and you don't do gowns, true, but at least you have learned, you have known about which gowns are actually on style right now, and you have a friend that you can recommend to. That means you're a bank of knowledge. You're beyond what you only know, or you're beyond your skill. So a good customer care representative will always look out for more knowledge, will always yearn to be trained, not just in what they do, but beyond what they do, and that makes them exceptional. Avoid being ignorant. If you're going to handle people, avoid being ignorant. These days, knowledge is everywhere. Right now, I'm even here training, and probably you're not, apart from you putting your data, you're not paying for this service, but people are paying for services like this to go and be trained. So there is knowledge everywhere. You can actually tap into your Google. Mr. Google, sir, has this knowledge. And so many people, even people around you, have the knowledge. Don't be ignorant in life. Choose not to be. That time of being ignorant ended long time ago. Anyone can actually give you information. You can get training. You can get training from someone who has been there, from someone who has had that experience, from someone who has sat on that desk before you, from someone who is actually doing it. I mean, there is knowledge. Don't choose to be that person who is ignorant and you're in that bracket. You're like, oh, if your service, I never, me, I don't know those things. Me, I'm not in this, you know, this modern world. Come on. Even if you're not to that speed, you can choose to know something. So if you're going to attend to people and you're going to lead people and you're going to serve people, in whichever sphere, whether you're a soldier, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a parent. These days our children are on another level of knowing things. You better sit down and get trained on parenting. You better sit down and get trained on the ministry. You know, in the church today is where you would find people say, I have the calling on God, and that is all they have. Come on. You're not going to serve people the right way when you only have the calling. You need to sit down and get trained. That's why we have theological schools. That's why we have Bible colleges. That's why we have, all these facilities. So if you're going to give exceptional service and people are going to fall in your palm, you better get informed, better get the knowledge, better get to know something. You cannot be ignorant. You cannot afford to know nothing in this day life. Okay, so as I close off, I want to leave this with you in 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 15, which says, study to show thyself approved. Study. Even the Bible tells you to study. This is beyond age. You cannot say, I'm now old, I cannot study. I'm now too rich, too wealthy, I cannot study. I now own apartments, I cannot study. No, studying has no limit. So study and study and study. Read about how to handle people. Read about your environment. Study about parenting. Study about marriages. Study the Bible. You have this material, so you cannot afford to be ignorant. Study to be approved. If people are going to approve you, they are going to find out how much do you know. What knowledge do you know? So basically, as I talk about customer care, it does not mean that if you're good at smiling, you're good at saying you're welcome, and people, no. People also want people who know, who have the knowledge, who have something to present on the table. So child of God, train, learn. When they call people for training, be the number one to go there. Have an attitude of learning. Have a teachable spirit. A good customer care representative always has a teachable spirit. The people you're working with have something to teach you, and you have something to learn from them. Don't think you know it all. Nobody knows it all. We all fall short of knowledge sometimes, but you choose to learn. You choose to relearn. Some of the things that you learned long ago are not relevant now. So relearn. Some of the things are new. Come on board. Learn new things. You're not too old to learn something new. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for viewing. I hope that we are eager to learn always, and that will take you to another level. Customers will fall right into your palms if you have the knowledge. Thank you. God bless you. I love you. See you next time.